Hi guys, I'm here with a very good friend of mine, Joshua David Hayward, out in Palm Springs at a Movement Makers Playground. Incredible event for people that are aiming to do good in the world and having some fun. So I've got a couple of questions for this amazing guy that I actually want to introduce to you guys because he's designing his life. Okay, so first point for you, Joshua, is that at what point in your life did you first take the steps to break your time for money link?
Great question, and it's an interesting answer actually. So I was 11 years old, and my parents had a friend who was he was a stockbroker. He did stocks and mutual funds and all that stuff. And in a question about what he did, all I heard was that I could make money without doing anything. So I started giving him $100 here, $100 there, $200 here from stuff I was making, shoveling snow, mowing lawns, and all that fun stuff. So I was 11 when I started that process.
Wow. Okay. And so what was your motivation behind your decision?
My parents didn't have a lot of money, and I realized that if I wanted anything, I had to get it myself. And that was the short answer.
That was the short answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to make money, and if I could make money without doing anything, that was even better.
Okay, so you were 11, but prior to that, if you're thinking about you're at school, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was the conditioning and thoughts?
You know what? I don't really have an answer to that question. I don't remember. There was no real desire. At times through, I think, my teenage years, I wanted to be a CIA agent and sneak around and be a spy. And that's really the only thing that I remember ever wanting to be when I was younger.
Okay. Now, I know that you built a business that was around supporting events and the like. Mm-hmm. Just talk me around how that came about and then why you made the decision to shift out of it.
Yeah, interesting. So 2007, I got The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss, and I learned more about making money without trading my time for it. And in 2009, I started investing in was it 2009? Maybe it was 2008? Maybe it was 2007. I started investing in real estate. I was 20, just turned 21 at the time. So I started investing in real estate and making money that way. Residual income from the rent that I was receiving. Then I was doing flips and signing contracts and a bunch of stuff. Then I got dragged to a personal development event that opened up my mind to my mindset around money and how I was being a lot of a saver versus spender or investor, and I started to shift how I was doing things. I started my own construction business, and I started getting amazing results with the information I was learning from these events I was attending, that I realized this stuff is awesome and I want to share this with other people. So I set out to do a whole bunch of live events and training. I wanted to be on stage. That was how I was getting my desire and need for significance met. And through sharing that information and empowering other people to get similar results to me, what ended up happening is I built a business that really for me was 2 full-time jobs. And I was running 100 live events per year in 8 different cities on the east coast of Canada with a team of 4 people, and it was basically just go, 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 go. Ended up chasing my tail and not doing it strategically.
Well. And then what pivoted and changed?
I started to try and help everyone, and I was always chasing my tail, and I ended up getting to a point where I just got to, screw this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm burnt out, and I'm done. And through that process, it was a really painful process to essentially burn everything to the ground. And start over, but it brought me to the realization of what I really wanted all along was the freedom to go travel the world and adventure and experience different cultures, experience amazing and epic landscapes. And that process then allowed me to get clear on what I wanted and then design my business around my desired lifestyle.
Okay, let's just come back a little bit. First of all, how old were you when you made that pivot, and what did you actually do? Just describe your life, what you did for that period.
Yeah, so I would have been 20, how old was I? 25, I think, when I got to that pivot point. Maybe 26. It was the beginning of 2013, so I would have just turned 26. And it took about 9 months to go through that process of shutting down that company, what's the word I'm looking for? Negotiating agreements with people who had bought stuff from me, and then getting clear on what I wanted to do. And so towards the end of that year, actually it was halfway through that year, I started traveling through Central America, climbing lots of volcanoes, enjoying beautiful beaches, and realized that I still wanted to share a message. I still wanted to empower and impact other people, but I only wanted to work with other leaders and other messengers. So I started offering coaching and group coaching, and ultimately got to a point where I was working 4 to 8 hours a week, coaching my clients and making $20,000 a month on average or more, up to $100,000 one month, just traveling the world, having an epic lifestyle, still trading time for money, but very high leverage.
High leverage.
In terms of the lifestyle that I wanted.
And there's a couple of keys in here in terms of a transition to designing an intentional life, because Josh is one of the most amazing people at designing his life and being very deliberate and intentional around every area of your life that I see. And I think one of the things is that, what would you say to people who believe that the only way that they can make a living is just go to school, get good grades, get a good job, sit in a corporate career or something like that, and just directly 8 hours a day exchange their time for money?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. So I think a big shift that happened for me at one point in time is I realized that the trading time for money, it's a trap. And I started to focus instead on trading value for money, because that's really what it is, but trading value that isn't tied to your time. So if you look at having a job, you're not really trading time for money. They're not paying you for your time. They're paying you for the value that you're bringing with your time. What are the actions that you're completing for them? What are the sales you're generating? How are you moving their business forward? It's the value that you're creating for them. It just happens to be tied to your time. And there's a way to provide value without it being directly related to your time. So that's really the shift, is figure out how can you provide value to someone, to somewhere in the marketplace that your time isn't engaged with it. It's not about you trading your time to give the value. The value is created and the value takes care of itself.
So what you're hearing in there is something that I think is fascinating, which is Josh is on his way to developing financial freedom, but not there separate to your business yet.
Yeah.
But him and his business partner are building an extraordinary business, got an incredible tribe, incredible following. But here's the pivot. Number one is buying your time back, buying chunks of your time back, not all of it, but highly leveraged and a massive amount of it, and buying a whole lot of freedoms along the way. Geographic freedom, when you choose to start work, so many things that people take for granted that is not in their control. You've clearly identified they are, and you're deliberately designing a life around that. And then the second thing is, so that's moving to a place of financial flexibility, a degree of financial independence, while you're on the journey to actually becoming completely independent from money. So you can enjoy your life. You can have a passionate, engaged, meaningful life while you're on the journey to financial freedom, and then set the full vision free. And I think you embody that for me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
And I think that there are so many people of your age and the next generation coming up who actually need to learn from you, because what Joshua does to me is he has removed so much vulnerability against disruption, against globalization. You can work anywhere in the world. In fact, we engaged you to help us with our last online launch. And you were in about 4 or 5 different countries around the world while you were helping us along the way. It made no difference. He was still there helping out, guiding, coaching, consulting to our team, and that was absolutely incredible. So geographically completely flexible, and also the ability to pivot and move against disruptions, against technology disruptions. It's a better way to live. You agree?
Yeah, it's more freedom.
So if you were going to give people a tip around designing a life, an intentional life, just from the depth of your soul, what would you share with them?
Yeah, the real key is to get clear on what you want. And it's so basic, but what do you want, and then intentionally designing your life to support that. So a couple different design constraints, so to speak. When I got clear on what I wanted, it was design constraint. I wanted to have a business that generated money for me no matter where I was in the world. So the flexibility of travel. I also didn't want to be anywhere at any specific time. So this was not doing any live events for quite a while. Then it was also the amount of money that I wanted to make that was going to generate the lifestyle that I wanted, that I didn't really have to think about money. What else is in it? When I had to work. So a lot of the work was just on my own schedule, and I designed that how I wanted. I spent 1 day a week working. The other 6 days I was climbing mountains, whitewater rafting, scuba diving around the 1 day that I chose to work. And I just got clear on, this is the lifestyle I want. What am I willing to exchange for that lifestyle, in money, in time, in energy, in investment, and just getting really clear on what is it that I want and what am I willing to exchange for it.
Awesome. Joshua rocks. You know, if you're prepared to make decisions, deliberately look at your life, deliberately design exactly what's truly important to you, surround yourself with good people. Who's influenced you? It's probably my last question. Who's influenced you along the way?
My business partner, who started out as my one-on-one coach and mentor, was a huge influence. Reading Tim Ferriss's book, 4 Hour Work Week, was really the first conscious eye-opening. When I was 11, I had no clue. I just heard make money without doing anything, and I liked it. But then reading the 4 Hour Work Week really opened my eyes to that as a possibility in a much bigger fashion in my life. So that's what kind of triggered and started it all off for me.
Awesome. Joshua, you absolutely rock. Thank you for sharing, my friend.
My pleasure. See you guys.